Hi, welcome to our town. So glad to be back in our town with a camera. Dave Hawksworth behind it. It's been March 2nd, Dave, the last time we shot something, you and I. Chuck Scott, we're at the Economic Development Corp of Dickinson County's boardroom, if you will, a meeting room. We're a little further apart than we normally are. How's Chuck?
Chuck's doing good. We're glad to be back in our offices and starting to get back into doing what we were doing the first part of March. But getting back in the offices was a big step. You know, letting everybody know that things are opening up.
Right.
We're ready, like everybody else, to continue down and follow the phases and make sure that we follow the precautions. But we're glad to be back in the office and continuing to make communications, talk to the businesses, and find out where everybody else is.
So we were just sharing personal things, and before the camera came on, and Dave said this is the first time he's been anywhere to shoot anything since way back then, right? So, and I made the comment, well, there's only one first. There can be a lot of bests, depending on any point in time, there's only one first. Well, you're first today too, because you're the first person that we've had a camera pointed at since COVID-19 shut us down. And I've said this and done this little hand movement for 30, 40 people during this conversation with about COVID-19 and what's going on. And my comment has always been, you're looking for the good things and the bad thing. Well, one of the good things is everybody's going to get a chance to think more, because they're sitting at home, forces your brain into out of normal pattern into another pattern, and it's called thinking, right? So, and my hope has always been that one of the things we'll think about is the economy. Mm-hmm. And so here's my comment, that to try to drop a thought in somebody's brain that when they walk away from me, they think about it. I say, I hope people will learn that the switch one uses to shut an economy off, clunk, is not the same switch you use to restart it.
Yeah.
Most people will look away before I even do the crank. I mean, because they just think they don't know what I'm going to do, but the visual's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. So a throw switch, single pole throw switch, clunk, real easy to shut things down. It's real easy to have shut this economy down. Just can't go to work. Everything changes, school's gone, clunk, it's off. But restarting it, Chuck, it's not just one handle.
Nope.
Everybody's got a handle that works like this, and we're all going to have to remember how to turn that old international motor over to get the economy going again. So you're my first interview because of that. The Economic Development Corp, it's about starting things for Dickinson County in the economy. And you know, you weren't in the office, but I had several board meetings, worked with you guys via the phone. So you didn't stop working.
No, we did not stop working. We, like everybody else, had to adapt and change. And I think lots of businesses had that challenge, that opportunity to think about what you do and how you do it. Mm-hmm. And we were not unlike anybody else. You know, we have a small staff, so that helps a little, that we didn't have to figure out how to make 20, 30, 50 people all try to communicate. Right. You know, but you still have that same challenge of how do you do it. We've got board meetings, like you said. We answer to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So how do you try to communicate with all of them, and how do you have that meeting to make sure that we don't stop functioning? So even though the economy got shut off for a period of time, it didn't completely stop, which means we couldn't completely stop either, and we had to keep working. And we did, like you said, it was a slow progress. We're going to see slow reopening. That's going to be done in phases. You know, it didn't all come back on in phase one and be completely done. Mm-hmm. We've got, you know, 1.5 to up to 4. It's going to take time. But I think the best thing is we're starting to come back. We're starting to see things reopen. The best thing I've seen in this whole area is people started to look at themselves and look at their business and what their opportunities were. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people made some change, that I couldn't do it the way I used to do it.
Right.
But I can still do what I want to do, just do it in a little bit different fashion. And I think that's going to help those businesses be that much stronger going forward. They've opened up new doors, they've opened up new opportunities and new ways of doing business. That's a great thing.
I agree. We've seen the same thing. You know, we're provide a lot of internet service to a lot of people. You know, bigger now than ever. But so we have contact with a lot of business. So it was interesting to me. I think we heard from every church in our market area in one way or another, and most of them wanted to solve the streaming problem, right? Because they're starting to stream services.
Yep.
I've had several of them that I took the call because of people were on vacation or gone, or just I needed to take that call and help that person. Where they told me, when I asked them, so are you going to keep this up when it's over? Their answers were, I think we have to.
Yeah.
I think we have to. We've built, I'm putting words in their mouth now, we built another market.
Absolutely, and I don't think they're the only ones. Like I said, I think lots of people have looked at it. It was almost forced that they had to figure it out. But I think lots of people have recognized there's another market maybe that we weren't really fully exposed to before. Right. It's opened up doors. We've got great technology. You know, people maybe weren't using it to its fullest advantage before. They're getting closer to that now. You know, I think looking at economically what that does from a business community, it's just broadened the reach that all of them have. I think that's only going to make things stronger as we continue to make progress in getting back to what we were. And that's going to take some time, but I think that creativeness, that opportunity that people capitalized on, that investment of their time and their energy to figure it out, I think it's going to make them all stronger as we get going. I
would agree, and we certainly hope so as an Economic Development Corp, right?
Absolutely.
So we're both in sales. I'm a straight up sales guy for Eagle Broadband and our parent company, Vive. That's what I do. I have a crew of salespeople. We go all over 5 states and sell stuff. That is what we do. I've always said this to my managers and directors and boards that I'm responsible to at Eagle, is we always are further in the future than anybody else in the company.
Yeah.
Most people in the company live in today and maybe next week and maybe next month. I started about 6 months from now and work out further than that. Because if I don't, I'm behind the market. So we work in the future all the time.
Yeah.
You work in the future all the time too. Almost everything you do that turns into one of those good news things that we like to see and hear was done a long time ago. The effort was done a long time ago. So
yeah, you're 6 months in the
guy too.
You're 6 months in the future is that'd be really short term for us.
Right.
Most things we're working on are 2-3 years in the future, if not more. So yeah, we have a very long horizon, which also means that it takes some time to see some results. But you know, we're in that. We've been at this for a little over 2 years since I've been on board. March 1st of 2018, I remember it very well. Lots of opportunity, lots of things that we started coming right out of the gate with and started working on, and a lot of those are just now reaching that point where they're becoming public. Or we're talking about groundbreakings.
Right.
We're starting to talk about grand openings for some of them. So they've not only broken ground, but now they're getting ready to open up. A lot of those opportunities are just now coming on board. And I hope people understand that our time frame and our horizon on a lot of projects are very, very long term. The short terms are how do we respond to a pandemic?
Yeah.
That's a short term, quick reaction.
Right.
You know, I think we learned a lot about some things we need to do, some things that we can help with in preparedness and business preparedness planning processes. There's still things we're going to learn through this whole process.
Absolutely.
But it was a rapid, quick change that we don't typically do because we are so future forward thinking and working that far in advance on projects.
You know, it's one of the reasons that we're sitting here with a camera, this conversation. I think the hardest thing about Economic Development Corp of Dickinson County and its constituency, which is everybody, one way or the other in Dickinson County you work for. Problem, they may not know that. They certainly have a larger than average chance of not understanding that. And one of the biggest things that's hard for people who see fruits of labor today to understand is almost all of your fruit is really based in planting trees, not picking cherries. Planting trees is most of the work that we do here.
Yeah, we're not an annual crop planter. in what we do. It's several seasons out for 80% of what we do. So you're right. It is a long-term investment for what we do. It's a long-term investment of our time and effort as a staff to generate that relationship. And so much of what we do is relationships. Right. That you've got to earn that trust of a company to get them to even really look at what we're doing. And we're there. I mean, I'm glad to say that of 150 some projects that we currently still have active open files on, we lost maybe 5 or 6 that either put things on hold or just stopped the project. Right. And that runoff rate is really, really small.
That's not bad.
And I've said it, people may have seen the letter that we wrote. That's a testament to the people of the area. It's not necessarily what we did, but the people here, the work ethic of the people in this area, the strong businesses that we already have in this, that's got attention. And it's got attention from people all over the country that we're talking to. They're interested because they know we were stable. That has kept those projects in the pipeline. And that's exciting for us, that where a lot of places are talking about projects that are being lost, projects that are on hold that they don't see coming back. They've got workforce issues, and while we've got the same thing with some unemployment numbers, we're not at that level a lot of places. That's comforting for us. It's also comforting for a lot of those businesses that are looking, and the site selection process has never stopped. Right. They maybe have changed a little bit where their focuses are, but we did not get taken off any of those radars. So that's a good positive sign for this area.
Before COVID-19 came along, Abilene was looked at as a very good place to invest in business opportunity. People saw there's some land opportunity for industrial. People see there's a workforce here for provide skilled labor.
Yeah.
People saw a great town of 6,500 in a county of 19,000 some between Salina, Manhattan, and I-70 going right there, and K-15 going right there. All of those things they saw before are still here. So with a job that puts you into the future, a year, 2 years into the future, and by you saying only 5 small things fell off of that list, that means the rest of that workflow and opportunity for the community is still headed our way. It's our job to make sure that we do everything we can to close those deals.
Absolutely, and that's really a summary of what we do daily, is making contact with those businesses, whether that be phone, email, the normal way that we communicated. It's not as much as in person lately, but we like to get back to that. That's really the comfort level we have, is getting people in the area and letting the people and the businesses in our area kind of help seal deals and get them to that next stage. The things that we're working on, have been working on, are still the same things that we were working on a year ago. The level of interest continues to raise for us, and some of that's in things that we weren't necessarily working on a year or more ago. We've got some housing development activity that's starting to pick up. I think that's a kind of a sign of things to come. Part of it is we've got manufacturing, we've got businesses that are still hiring, that are still growing, good, strong businesses in the area. We know we've got to address, a housing situation. We started with the assessment a little over a year ago. Right. Some of the planning of that information, the recommendations they had that we started working on a year ago, are starting to come to fruition today too. So people are not only looking at from a business perspective, they're looking at that other service side of those businesses. And housing is just one of them. And that's, do we have land? Do we have land that's got infrastructure? You know what? We have some of that. Right. And we have it in other parts of the county. So our job is, your job is being that salesperson of community marketing to those people looking at opportunities. Yeah.
So to remind people of some of the work that has been done in our community in the past. I had a chance, because of, again, COVID-19 and traveling and all that stuff, I was the closest guy to Great Plains West this week, who could go do a walkthrough between IT Room 1, IT Room 2, and take some pictures and make a physical assessment of putting fiber between the two, just a little thing. But it's the building that we had our last big meeting investor meeting and
Yeah.
they hosted us. What month was that?
In August.
Okay, August of last year.
Yep.
We were out there in that building, and the vastness of the building. That vastness of the building has lines,
Yeah.
continuous manufacturing lines built in it today. The big one of the, I think there's 2 lasers running in the far corner down there from where we were sitting down that way, two big lasers running. They're producing finished goods out of that building. I worked with a young man, Matt Scott, reason I got my phone out to get his name and get it right, but Matt Scott, had his mask on, so I had met him at the door, temperature scan, safety glasses, earplugs, mask, provided to me, and away we go. So who are you, where'd you come from question.
Yep.
Salina area, grew up in Salina area, went to K-State.
Yep.
Is a manufacturing expert. I said, so are you the IT guy? And he laughed. He says, no, he said, I'm the manufacturing guy.
Yeah.
And it was clear, so I ask him manufacturing questions because I love manufacturing. I can spend all day in anybody's manufacturing plant. So I ask him manufacturing questions, and I can tell you, we're so fortunate to have a young man like that with that opportunity sitting in Abilene, Kansas. It's
Absolutely.
amazing. And I think, you know, people know it's there. They saw the story in the newspaper or watched it on Eagle or whatever else.
Yeah.
Their neighbor told them about it. But not many people like you and I get the chance to go in these places frequently and can sit here and say, wow, are we seeing the future happen? Yes, we are.
We are. I mean, it's a great story of what that company has done. The asset that it is for this community. You know, I think it's a sign of things to come. It's something we look at as that's a leader in the manufacturing world. That's somebody that we know other people wouldn't mind being close to. So that's how we portray it, is we've got that knowledge base. We've got an international based company that a lot of people wouldn't mind looking at as maybe we can learn some things from, maybe we can look at what they've got for employment, what they've got for knowledge base, not necessarily to move them back and forth, but if I'm a supplier to someone like a Great Plains, why would I not want to be closer? And I think we're going to start to see a shift today where that supply chain is going to be disrupted. Yes. And we're not going to necessarily see everything maybe just in time the way we were. We might just start to see some of it warehoused. A little more inventory, a little more warehousing, a little bit closer to where your end users are.
Absolutely.
That's an opportunity for us.
Oh, man.
We've got a great highway system between I-70, 15, and 77 that we can get to almost anywhere in this county. We've got land, so no matter what size of building they be looking for, we can probably figure out a place to put it.
Absolutely.
And we've got quick access to all of it. So, you know, we've got rail, we've got airports not that far from us. I think we're positioned very, very well for the future, and I think we're going to see opportunities that maybe we weren't seeing a year ago. And I look forward to that opportunity to continue to talk about what we have in Dickinson County, the strengths that we have and the assets that we have. We're working really hard at trying to put some marketing type material together to get in front of people. We're talking about the new wave of, do we do virtual tours? Do we do site selection virtually instead of people coming into town? All things that are changing the way we do our business. You understand it, you're in that world as well. We've got to look at how we do it, and can we reach an even broader audience than we are today. That's where we're at, is let's make some change, but let's continue that effort of, this is a great place. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. And you know what? We've got great opportunities to work here. I don't know what else people are wanting to look for, but we've got all of that.
It is why we named this little show, for the benefit of the community, Our Town, because it expresses some pride. Our Town. Phrase, you say it to anybody and they think about their town. They have a pride response normally. So we certainly do in Abilene. Factual point. The fact that Great Plains Manufacturing, leading exporter, swap back, leading ag exporter for a long, long time, probably for the state of Kansas, but leading exporter #1 by anybody a couple of years too, and including we have Boeing in Wichita, right?
Correct.
So, very successful company. The simple fact that they would take a 300,000 square foot warehouse in Abilene, Kansas, and turn it into one of the most modern manufacturing plants in the country, which it will be when it's full and done.
Yes, sir.
Means that somebody looking at our community can say, they can wipe all the first 100 questions off the list. It just whoosh, because if Great Plains has done this, these things are already answered. So let's move to phase 2 and start talking to Chuck and buddies about how to make their vision grow in our area. And that's a great thing.
It's a wonderful thing. And like I said, it's something that, I know they're very proud of. It's a great company. We don't mind letting people know we've got great companies like that here. And the line I like to use is, why would they not want to be the next great company in this area? Like I said, it's a true testament to what we've got in education and healthcare, what we've got for workforce, and what we've got in educational systems around us that give us skills training. I think we're going to see more skills training happen. I think there's going to be a need and demand for it. We're looking for those relationships. And around the housing, we're looking at, is there some partnering opportunities, whether it be high school or tech schools, where we can do some infill housing. Communities have already invested in that infrastructure. Let's make it and bring it up to capacity. All things that we touch on and we work on. And I think that's what's exciting about what we do, is we really want and work hard at improving the community as a whole, any of the communities in the county. And that can touch a lot of things. But we can't do all of it ourselves, and that's why we're thankful to have board members and investors that help us out.
So Dave gave me the 2 minute about a minute and a half ago, so we never have time to get to what we want to get to, but I want to say this. The CEO program, you just hired a moderator, director.
Facilitator.
Facilitator, specific title, just before this thing.
Yep.
Now we're going to have to put our hand back on the crank. We went like this, now we're going to have to go, because that CEO program is designed to crank out the future.
Yes, sir.
For our citizenry.
So
I need to get you back for a full program with your facilitator and talk about the CEO program.
I would love to. Our facilitator is a very passionate person, very high energy. I think it's a great opportunity. We were glad to look at it as a long-term investment.
Better tell the camera who it is.
But yeah, Cynthia Dieters is our facilitator, and I'd love that opportunity. I'm sure she would as well.
Yeah, okay. Chuck, thanks for sitting down. I appreciate it. I appreciate the work that you and Veronica and all the people who've invested, all the people who serve on boards. It is so vital that we have a efficient, skilled, successful economic development corp in Dickinson County. It's just one of our benefits in our town. It really is. So, there isn't much reason to hire a crippled, gray-headed guy, which applies to both of us, by the way, right?
That's right.
But you've brought a lot of relationships to the game for us. And as you said in the prior part of this conversation, relationships are everything in economic development. Plus having the tools and knowing the process of how to turn the crank. And that's just, now it's down to the hard work. Both hands on the crank and get to turning it. You're a crank too. If you're watching today, figure out what makes your business go, get both hands on the crank. If you need help from the Economic Development Corp of Dickinson County, Chuck and Veronica are right here. Where?
203 Northwest 15th Street.
I didn't know the address.
Abilene.
There we go. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Glad to be back in front of you. My name is Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Broadband. Chuck Scott, Economic Development Corp of Dickinson County, Executive Director. Have a great day.